Hi guys, welcome back to another video. So we've covered off the game tiles, the first Kickstarter of Dwarven Forge, and I'm continuing on with some of the other stuff because I've also backed the second Kickstarter, and whilst I didn't back the third, I did buy some of the components online after the fact. So rather than doing it as the game tiles and sort of subsequent expansions, I'm doing this as a single hit. It's going to consist of a pledge, which is now split across two purchases in the store. Okay, so it's I think $85 for the basic and $70 for what you are essentially buying as the Kickstarter add-ons. Which sucks, to be blunt. I mean, obviously it was cheaper through Kickstarter, but you didn't pay $80 at Kickstarter's point. It was more expensive than that, $105, $115, something like that. It doesn't suck as hard as you first think. If it's any consolation, I bought it from the UK, so it costs probably more than the current price for you if you're in the US. So, you know, it could be worse. You could have to deal with shipping as well. Really like the set. Don't think you need as many of these, anywhere near as many as you do with the game tiles, but they double up as dungeon tiles, and I often use them interchangeably when I run out of corners or walls or something like that. So let's drop in, look at the basics, look at the add-ons, and sort of see what they look like. Right guys, so here we have the basic Cavern set. It comes with 9 flat floor pieces, 9 wall pieces, and 8 corners. So quite a lot less walls and floors than the dungeon tile set for the same price, but 2 more corners. So that gives you a bit more flexibility in creating complete rooms. But you are getting less here. The reality behind that is I think that they are just a bit more detailed. So this is the floor piece. Okay, again you can see it's picked out in the same 2 colours that you had with the game tiles. So they do work really interchangeably well. Okay, I'll just grab a corner piece from the game tiles. You can actually see them in situ. Can you see that? No, you can't. So you can see that they do sort of sit same height. These have sort of a hollow, these are flat, so they were redesigned slightly differently, but that's cool. So 9 of those. You can see there's sort of subtle squares, so you can see the squares through there, but they're slightly less obvious, which is nice. The wall pieces are a lot more detailed. Okay, you have these cool sort of growing bits. It's fairly easy to mod as well. So the sculpts are a lot more detailed. You've got a lot more on the back as well, which I think is why it has the higher price. So these are very, very pretty tiles. And then finally the corner pieces are all curved, okay, and they are open curves. And again you can see you've got some growing bits and bobs there, the single tile to fit someone in. But a nice corner piece. So I'm going to go through the Kickstarter add-ons, and then I'll put something together rather than putting it together on camera, because that can be quite time consuming. Okay guys, so this other part is called the Cavern Assortment pack. Okay, you can see that we've got a few bits here. This was essentially all of the Kickstarter goals. So it gives you a few bits. So with some of the narrow passages, you can see these 2 diagonal bits are forming 2 of the 6 that you would get in the narrow passages. Well, there you go, you get 2 in this thing, setting you up for a corner. It just, I would see this as almost a mandatory purchase. It's 75 on top of the 80 you're already spending. But the 80 is probably not going to give you that much in terms of playing area. This opens up a lot more. You get a lot more straights, a lot more corners, a lot more floors. And it also gives you much needed variety. It makes it feel like caverns, and I think that that's important if you're going for the caverns themselves. So you've got this cool piece. You can see it's got a little bit of elevation. Probably wouldn't be able to put a mini on those 2, but they've got little green pools. Pinging back from that, you've got this cool wall tile with sort of things running down. I mean, you can fill those with resin if you want to give them even more of a shine. So you get 2 of those pieces. I really like this. On first glance, it just seems the same as the corner piece, but it's really not. It's actually got quite a lot of differences. You've got more of this green pools. You've actually got it as a square. whereas this is a corner, so it does round it off. Not sure if you can pick this up, not really. There is little flecks of metallic paint. That's a metallic fleck there. It's got like ore seams running through it, so that's quite nice. These are another cool one. It's a wall piece, just a sort of a wrinkle in a wall. These ones are exceptionally cool, okay, because these are sort of dead corners, so they're like the inverse of a corner. So you can set up something like this, and you can sort of seal off an area. Sorry, I'm just going to try and move the camera down because it's not very flexible. So you can do it like that. I'll use those in our build. You can see how they might get used. Two more flats. So this is like a stream bed. This one's a lot more subtle on the squares as well. You've got a square there and there. So you've got this sort of central one. And then you've got this one, which is an elevation piece. I'm going to get some elevation stuff for Christmas, so I'll be able to do a video on elevation using those in just a little while. So two of those. This one's a really cool one. It's an end cap, and again it's got a little platform for you to fit a little mini on there. I think a mini will just about fit, and it depends on the base. But again, a really nice piece, lovely striations of ore running through it. These are the narrow passages that we've seen in the dungeon tiles, only cavernized. Okay, and again they're suitably caverny. I've used these quite a lot actually. They've been very, very effective in my builds. Again, with two sets, because I got two sets of the caverns, and I've never really felt the need for any more than that. Two sets, you get 4 of those. That's probably enough for most things. After that, you move to the odds and sods, the stuff that perhaps isn't so exciting. A stalagmite, which looks alright, but you don't really have enough to make an impact piece. A freestanding wall, which is alright, but again, I'm not really found much use for it. And a freestanding curved wall. It doesn't seem very natural to me, if I'm going to be completely honest. Like, it's okay. I've used it to sort of wall stuff off, but that's the only criticism I level there. And there's an entryway, so like an entryway into the mine, which again, from a height perspective, is slightly off, but you know, it's pretty cool. This is kind of cool, like a little archway. You just again pop straight onto your tile. Oh, whoops, sorry. So you can see that there. So it gives a bit of flavour. I'm not bothered about the web. It's made of plastic. It's all right. It's not a million miles away from sort of like a Halloween store sort of thing. It's okay. I lost the other one and I never felt the need for it. However, we have saved what I think is the best till last, and that is these pieces here. Now, these allow you to do something called negative space. Okay, so what you can do is they can fill out a void to the point, these are so useful as to be untrue, to the point that I've actually kickstarted really heavily on these pieces. So you can see now we've got a fissure running through here, and I could get some water texture and now it's a lake, or I could get some lava texture and now it's a river of lava, or I could black and now it's literally a void. So you get 4 of these. Okay, this one's doubly nice because it can actually sort of sit as a sundered tile as well, which is pretty cool. These two obviously don't quite work in quite the same way, but a pointy one and a really short one. It gives texture to your rooms and it allows you to go down the negative space route. So I love these. If you're going to buy it for these big ones, then just understand that the coming Kickstarter has these as a separate pack, and they're going to be reversible. So that means that you got them painted on all 4 sides. So that will make huge impact on some of the stuff you're going to be capable of doing. So they're really, really cool. So that's a basic overview, and we'll drop back in a little while and show you how this can look when it's all put together. Right guys, so this is what I've put together for the 2 sets. I'm using freehand, so I apologise if it's wobbly. You can see I've put some mushrooms in there, simply on the virtue that I think they're cool. These are also a Dwarven Forge set, but I didn't really see the need to do a whole thing for them. This is the negative space. You can see all I'm using for water there is crepe paper, but you can get nice water textures, and Dwarven Forge are coming up with metal tiles that will help you with that. You can see the web. I don't know, I just don't particularly like it. These are the freestanding walls. They're actually cooler than I realised. I've just never really used them. So you can see that this is a decent sized dungeon. I mean, you've got 2 good rooms. Okay, and this is just with 1 set. You can fit some scorpions there that they're trying to fight. I just grab some more minis. Maybe there's a marrow living in there. You can see how very swiftly, how epic that can become. These are just obviously D&D minis. So this is 1 set. Like I said, I have 2. I really don't think you need much more than that. Any more than that and you could probably sub out dungeon tiles. I mean, if I was just to do a very quick swap for us. Sorry, my camera work could... I mean, does it look that out incongruous? Like it's the old last vestiges of a ruin? I suppose it might get an odd question from your people, but they're going to understand. I mean, this is pricey stuff. So this is my last look at the Cavern tiles. I really like them. I like them a little bit more in some regards to the game tiles. And I think they work in concert very nicely. So I'll leave you with a close-up of the scary marrow. Goodbye, guys.